how's it going? It's Morgan coming to you with the weekly Shlog. We are here, we're rocking and rolling. It's Tuesday. We had an awesome time up in Rico. If you haven't checked out that video, put a card right up here. Check that out. We had so much fun. It's a two-part series. Oh, there's a whole bunch of bikes showing up. I don't know if you can see them. They're out there, right there. Yeah, I don't know what that's all about, but quick update on what's going to happen. Got big news here. First of all, Zach's working on an RFS KTM. That's awesome that he's working on it and not me. It's actually not bad, but I just don't love those motorcycles. But big news, big news, big news. I am going to be giving away a motorcycle for free, no entry required, no purchase, no nothing. We're going to be giving away that PW50 right there. It was given to me by a customer whose kids outgrew it and they just didn't ride it. It needs some love. It doesn't run right now. The carburetor needs to be cleaned. The motor seems to be fine as far as compression wise. It needs foot pegs on it because it did have training wheels on it. So it needs some foot pegs. The front end's a little bit loose and carburetor needs to be cleaned. I was going to do all that and sell it or something like that, but I'm just so busy that I don't have a chance. So instead, I'm going to give it away to one of you. And what we're going to do is we're going to give it away on our live show number 100, Gospel Two Wheels number 100. So it's not this Thursday, it's the coming Thursday, the next one. We're going to give it away. I'll be announcing lots of things and stuff on Facebook, so make sure you stay tuned on Facebook too on how to win it. But yeah, it's going to be awesome. Make sure you stick around for that. It's going to be good. Big day today, guys. I got the 300 kit for the KTM. I will be unboxing that and showing you what all comes with that. Also showing you what I'm going to do to the cylinder, the little bit of porting I'm going to do to that to get it dialed in. Putting a top end in the kid's KX100 because he blew it up a little while ago. I forgot to mention that, but yeah, top end's actually already back on it. I took the radiator down to make sure it wasn't leaking. It wasn't, so I got to pick that up here in a little bit. Gonna be buttoning that thing up and make sure it's all good to go. It should be. Got the reeds out. Like, there's the reeds. There's the carburetor. Clean that all up. Guys, it's gonna be an awesome week here at the Shlog. So make sure you stick with us for this video. It should be a lot of fun. Also, make sure you subscribe so that you can see all of our videos as they come out. There's the pup. Hey, Leia, come here. That's a good girl. That's a good girl. Leia, sit. Hey, Leia, sit. Oh, that's a good dog. That's a good dog. That's a good girl. Yeah. Yeah. Gonna be a good day, guys. Join us. All right, guys. So, got the kids' motor back together as far as I can. I gotta go get that radiator later, but now let's take a look at what comes in the KTM 300 kit. So if you have a 250, you want a 300, it's awesome. You buy the kit and it's got everything in it. Let's start. Shiny new cylinder, new flange, everything brand new. 300 cc's wide, whatever that is. I'm not sure exactly what that bore ends up being, but yeah, obviously a cylinder, piston. OEM pistons from KTM are Vertex pistons when it comes to two strokes at least. Cylinder head, brand new. CDI box. All the power valve parts. Honestly, this is like one of the nicest things. You get all of them, even the little keepers, the side parts, flapper, actuators, all the bolts, everything you need. It is really, really nice. Even the little collars, top end bearing O-rings, crush washers for the head bolts, and all the base gaskets. There we go. The soon-to-be Daisy 300 right there. Really excited to put this together, but first things first. The cylinder. Now, I'm not going to port this by I'm not going to change port heights in here. What I am going to do is knife edge this and kind of take, just clean up these casting marks a little bit with my Dremel. That's really the biggest thing that I do on a 2-stroke cylinder these days. The other thing is I'm going to match up where the flange. So I'm going to match up where the flange meets the cylinder. There's a little bit of a roughness there. Match that all up so it's nice and perfect, and then we'll be good to go. I'm not going to polish this exhaust port. That's not a horrible idea, but that takes a ton of time, and I don't feel like it really does that much to make it run good. But yeah, so I'm gonna start here. We'll do that right now. I'll show you what that looks like when I'm done, and then we'll go forward. All right, guys, so I think I mentioned this to everyone, that the cause for the seizure on the motor was this seal, this left side seal leaking. This is obviously the dry side, and when it leaks, things lean out. So we need to get that seal out and put a new one in. All right, guys, so we got to get that seal out, and you don't want to take a normal seal driver and try to drive it in here and pop that out, because you'll probably damage the end of the crank, or you might damage the case. So what we're gonna do is take a nice little teeny weeny drill bit like this. It's a 3/32. We're gonna take this center punch and we're gonna make a mark in the seal, the metal part. Take a look, you can see it right there. Take our drill bit, put it right on that. We're gonna go nice and easy. Go real slow here, folks. Because what you don't want to do is get it, hit that bearing. While we're going, we're gonna blow that out. There we go. Now I'm going to take this pick. I've already broken the end of it off before, but it's nice and small. We're going to put it down in that hole, and we're just going to rotate up. And so right now I'm struggling with this, but it's good because since I drilled that hole and I'm not using a big giant puller, I'm not messing anything up. All these have nice rounded edges, so that crank is in totally fine shape. So we just got to kind of keep it until we get it out of there. Alright, so that was a lot harder than it should have been, honestly. I think it's because the thing got so hot, sucking air, which might mean that, honestly, that bearing is no good, but I'm looking in there, it looks great. Alright, so we got the seal out. Everything looks awesome. Nice and clean in there, nice and still shiny silver, it's not all blue. Checking the crank again, rolling. It sounds awesome, super smooth, so I think we're good to go. Let's get that other seal and put it in. So in doing that, I did ding up this edge a little bit. It's mainly just on the outside, so it's no big deal, but I am going to take a little, I got a file. If you can see that, it's kind of rounded. I'm going to just clean that edge up a little bit. Definitely want to make sure you super duper clean that out, because you don't want any of that metal inside there tearing up the new seal or the bearing or anything like that. So we've got a new seal, shiny OEM KTM. Take a little bit of grease. And all this grease is doing is making it go over the edge of that crank smoothly. Up. Now we're just going to get a socket that's the right size. Perfect. So when I'm doing this, I like to use a little bitty teeny weeny hammer so you don't overhit it anywhere. Just kind of I want to stop every now and then, look at it really good, make sure everything is level. Seals good, really happy with that. Now I can bolt this whole left side back on. I'm gonna service this up and grease all this, because this just runs on grease. It's not, there's no oil behind this, so you want to make sure this has got plenty of grease on it, so they can do its thing. Alright guys, so I'm getting ready to put the starter Bendix back in. I've had zero problems with the starter, but I'm going to lube this while it's off. Couple things. You don't want to use anything real sticky, because it'll get into everything and kind of gum everything up. Don't want any super gummy stuff in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to lube this bushing up. Got some of the Z-Max lube. It's lightweight stuff. There we go. Let that do its thing. Also hit the starter. There we go. Take our rig. We're gonna go ahead and get the hit these teeth. Yep. All right, got a flywheel. Want to line up? We got. If you look in there, you can see the groove for the woodruff key. Just line that up. Take an impact. So I like to take all the dowel pins, put them into one side. New gasket. We got lube in there. Now we're just gonna set this sucker. On this cover, there are only 2 bolts that are any longer, right there, and they go where the dowel pins go. So you put those in, and all the rest of them go in. And I know a lot of guys are super anal about putting bolts and keeping track and all this stuff, but here's the thing, and I've said this on other videos, all you really need to do is have all the bolts sticking out the same amount. So even if you're wrong, you just switch them out until they're all sticking out the same amount. Tighten them down. Sweet, so that's all done. Happy gets that seal done. The next thing I'm gonna do is flip that thing over and do the right side where the oil is. Now that wasn't leaking, but since we got the thing apart and that the left side leaked, we might as well do the right side too. That way we know they're both solid, and we can feel really good about putting the top end on this thing. So, got the right side of the motor off, right cover, everything's out of the way, all nice and happy and clean. Now we got the clutch out, got all the main gears off the crank. Now we got to get this bushing out, and it's definitely you can't really just grab it. If we were going to reuse that seal, we wouldn't want to grab it with like pliers or anything, because it'd be, you're probably going to jack up the seal. But I think if we're really careful, we can kind of get a hold of it and just pull it out. So then the seal will be really easy to remove at that point. So chin locks, I'm just going to go super careful. There we go. That all looks good in there. There we go. And now, what that allows us to do is take a really nice, good look at this bearing. And it looks good. And if we roll it, doesn't look like it's blue. Try to move it, it's nice and tight. I feel really good about this. Now we are definitely still rolling the dice a bit with this whole situation, so you know, who knows, it may have to still come apart, but I feel good about this. in the way it's going. So gonna put this new seal in. We're gonna tap it in just like the other one, and we'll be good to go. So when you're doing this job, you need to replace this O-ring too. And it's gonna be really hard to see on the camera, but it's nice and flat, which is how they get. So we're gonna put a new one of those in, then we'll do a new seal, be good to go. All right, new O-ring. Shiny new seal. Same way. It's got a big socket. I'm gonna put that on there. A little bit bigger hammer on this one. And here's a little trick. So if you're using a socket like this to drive these on and you don't want to push it too far down, you can either use a socket that's like a little bit bigger than the the case where it's going on, or you can do this. You can take it, and as you're coming down, you can just slide it over just a little bit and tap on that, and that way it'll stop on the case before it pushes it down, and you can slowly work your way around the seal like that. I like to take a little bit of the red Scotch-Brite, same thing, put a little crosshatch in there. If there's any kind of groove in there from the other thing, it'll help kind of smooth that out. Take just a little dab of grease, run around there so that it doesn't hang up. There we go. Quick note, because these are counterbalanced, this matters a lot on how it goes in and how it's timed with the counterbalancer. So here's the counterbalancer. If you look, you can see there's a dot right there. There's a dot right there, or by my thumb. So this dot on the gear is on a tooth. This dot is in between teeth. So what we want to do is it's got to line up with the Woodruff key, right? So then we can kind of rotate until, there we go. See how they're matched up? Just kind of ease it down. Lock washer. Nut. This is a left-hand nut, guys, so it won't go on like you normally would. You go left-handed. And so the reason that's left-handed, in case you were wondering, because it kind of doesn't make sense, like why would they do that? But, and maybe some of you guys know, but in case you don't know, the reason it's left-handed is that the motor spins like that, right? The motor spins like this, and that means that the left-handed nut, since it goes on tight like this, it's always getting tighter. I mean, it's not moving at all really, but the motion of the motor is going against the threads that way, so that helps keep it from wanting to ever come off. So that's why they're left-handed thread on that end of the crank. Awesome day already here at the shop because Mr. Sheets, who is desperately angry at the entire world right now, got the WR fixed. I don't know if you guys remember from, I think it was the last Shlog, anyway, where the coolant was flying out of the radiator like crazy. Yeah, so it turns out the head gasket was completely junk, and it had something to do with the fact that the right front head bolt was loose, but this thing's never been apart, so I'm guessing it just happened. Probably got hot, really hot one time, and it caused that gasket to collapse. And anyway, the thing killed whatever. So it's all good. Way to go, rock and roll. Other news here today, guys. We are now an XC Gear dealer. I did that because I had a customer who wanted one, and then I decided that I would like to try one. Test out for you guys, kind of compare against the flex bars. I've been using flex bars from Fast Company for a long time. I absolutely love them, but in the interest of trying all the stuff out and finding out which one's better, I ordered one for me. This is not mine. Mine is coming. Should be here by the end of the week. Should be ready to go for the Death March. So yeah, super stoked about that. Kenny and I are checking in piles of parts. He's helping me out because he's awesome. We've already been through a bunch of boxes. We got more to go. Gonna be an awesome day. Got to get the 300 together, hopefully today. Well, not hopefully. I'm gonna stay late tonight and do it no matter what. So yeah, let's keep rocking and rolling. All right, guys, time to get back to work on the 300 that used to be a 250. But first, take a look at what the angriest man in motorsports is doing right now. He is putting a kickstart on a KLX 250. Yes, that's a thing. I didn't even know, but you guys know my affinity for kickstarts and things like that, and carburetors, so I think that's awesome. The bike already has a carburetor, so why not put a Kickstarter on it? It's got electric start, but you know, I mean, it's already kind of a heavy, just putt-putt trail bike, so why not put a kickstart on it? And really all it takes is putting the parts that it would have had normally into it. It's already got a hole in the case, or in the cover, kickstart spandrel, a gear back here. I think that's probably about all that you're adding. I don't know. What was it, Zach? Anything else other than the
yeah, just the start shaft and then the gear that's kind of behind the clutch now. And,
yeah. Nice.
It's sealing the cover.
So did the kit come with a new gasket?
Yeah, I guess so. There was a new gasket.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah. That's yeah. Yes.
I couldn't remember if it was sitting on top.
Zach just opens up boxes. He's got no idea what's going on.
It's in the pile.
Yes. All right. So now, if you guys have been watching, you've seen that I already got the 2 seals done on the motor. Crank still feels awesome. So now it's time to build the cylinder. For you guys watching the in-depth video, I'm going to show you how we do it. If you're watching just the Shlog, then I'm going to skip this part and get the cylinder built, and I'll slide it on here in just a bit. All right, guys. Motor's together. There's oil in it. There's coolant in it. The gas is on it. It's on. Air filter's clean and oiled. All that's left is hitting this button. Zach doesn't think it's going to start.
I think it'll start.
Yeah, we're all just actually, so we're all betting. Actually, if you're watching this, comment below before I start this thing whether or not you think it's going to blow up. I think it's going to start, and I feel pretty good that the crank will be fine, but there's always a chance when you do something that bad to it that, yeah. So, yeah, we're going to find out right now. So, yeah, here we go. Without further ado, 300 kit, CDI, everything. I'm going to here, after I'm done seeing if it works and all that, I'll go over what we got going on as far as jetting and all that stuff. Did put a brand new FMF pipe on it, gnarly, so pretty excited about that. So yeah, guys, I guess let's see what happens. Alright guys, putting the seat on. Last little tech tip before I go over kind of what else we're going on here as far as jetting and all that. When you're putting seat bolts in, I take a little bit of grease, dip that in there and put it in, because I would rather have this come out, although it won't, even with grease on it, than have it seize in these silly little seat things that always seize up and then you can't, it's annoying. So a little bit of grease, tip of the bolts, and then run them in. Right on. Daisy is back and ready for the death march. I actually have a couple more things I'm going to do to her before I get her ready. Obviously, the motor oil and all that's good. I am going to ride it a couple times, so I probably will change that. Go through all the nuts and bolts again before the death march. But I know a lot of you guys want to know what I'm doing with jetting. Now it's a 300 and not a 250, and the answer is nothing yet. So JD, which is the kit I use, I mean, I love his needle on the Mikuni carburetor, and the only difference between the 250 and the 300 jetting wise is actually the 300 calls for leaner jets, because the 300 draws more, has more vacuum, so it pulls harder on the carburetor, which means it could pull more gas through the same size hole, which then could make it rich. So they actually tell you to go down a main jet size and down a pilot jet size. The needles, I don't know if they're different. They might be different. They say they are. They look really close. If they are different, it's just like where the taper starts probably. And I'm going to leave that needle in the number 2. So I'm right now going to be running a 390 main jet, a 32.5 pilot, and the red needle in the number 2 position for this next ride. So make sure you stick around. I'm definitely going to film this Thursday's ride because I want to go and kind of beat on this thing a little bit and make sure everything's going to be okay before the death march, and also check the jetting out because I don't really know. So jetting's exactly like it was for a 250. I have a gnarly pipe on it, which shouldn't change the jetting at all. Everything else is pretty well the way it was. So yeah, now it's 300. So I'm excited to test ride it. All right, on to the next thing. All right, guys. So the 300, the 250-ish, we're gonna call it. Daisy, the 250-ish XCW. Motor is awesome, as you saw. I took it for a test ride this morning. It's brilliant. No noises, no nothing. I am gonna ride it tonight and beat up on it out on the Thursday night ride. Make sure everything's good before the death march. And like I mentioned earlier, we are an XC gear dealer now, and I did not think that my personal mounts would be here in time, but they are. I thought they were gonna be here tomorrow, but they're here. I'm very excited. Boom. And look at that. Island Cycles. I love it. So let's install these things. I've never done that, so we'll walk you through what that looks like. I honestly have no idea how to put these things on, so maybe Kenny can help me. He's unwrapping suspension from TBT. Mr. Brady Better got him set up. Kenny has used 2 different people to do the suspension on his 18 XCW and has not been at all happy. And I rode his bike and it was honestly terrible. So we got Brady to take care of it. Just got him back, so he's gonna put those on and ride with us tonight too. So, all right, let's install these things. Bottom of the mount is just like any other mount. Gonna go right on here. I'm gonna put it like that, just like I had it. They're offset just like the KTM ones. I had it on the back hole, but on the forward thing, so kind of in the middle. So I haven't used a set of Pro Taper bars in a very long time. I've been using Flex bars for a long time, but the last ones I used were Woods Highs. So that's what we're putting on. We're gonna go with Woods High bars, and we'll get these things on here. And I think the next step is you put the little rubber things around here. So get that done. All right, so the next thing we're doing is we put this piece on. So it says 12 foot-pounds, but I don't know exactly where it goes, so I don't know. All right, guys, so putting this middle part on, this little rubber thing called the Shark Bite. I went with the middle stiffness one. I went with the little bit stiffer. Actually, it's the middle stiffness, and so are the main grommets that I'm using. You can choose how stiff you want this and how stiff you want these. So these are middle, and this is middle. Some guys, you know, you can trade it up. These are inexpensive if you want to buy them again later. And when they wear out, you just put new ones on. It's like 40 bucks for the set. So just going to put this on loosely. And we're going to take these, put them on. And then I'm going to walk over here. Like that. Can you get to these after that's on? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. All right. So then that on.
Kenny's blind.
Oh, that's way off. There we go.
Well, yeah, you need to.
There we go.
Those hold that.
All right. So I got them equal. Same with the inner part that has a shark bite on it. Now we're going to crisscross pattern, tighten all of them down to 12 foot-pounds. So I'm going to go grab the digital torque wrench. get that out, tighten everything down. I got my bars where I want them, where I think I want them. Obviously they're centered this way, but I've got them rolled to where I think they should be good. Try to basically make this level with the ground, so that's good. So now get that tightened up. Then we'll be done with that part of it. The next thing we're going to do is install some Enduro Engineering hand guards, and then we should actually get back to work on customers' bikes. But Zach's busy over there installing a Recluse and having a lot of fun with the cable-operated Recluse because it doesn't work like the hydraulic one, so it's a lot more of a pain in the butt to adjust. You have to keep taking the cover off and stuff like that. So anyway, one more reason to have a hydraulically operated clutch on everything Yamaha. Right on, guys. I hope you enjoyed this Shlog. I didn't finish it at the shop because I got crazy busy. It was nuts. Anyway, it's Labor Day weekend. I'm actually not going to ride my dirt bike because next week is the Death March. I hope you guys are interested in watching that video. It's going to be super awesome. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see the biggest, longest, nastiest single day in Colorado. It's been 14 years we've been doing this thing. It is totally awesome. Guys, you know what I'm going to say. I want you to get out, spread the gospel of two wheels, and I really hope that what we're doing here at Highland Cycles is inspiring you guys to work on, but more importantly, get out and ride your dirt bikes!